that's enough to fuck in the boxing world in the Manny Pacquiao saga. Let's go on to some college fucking football, dude.
I was about to say, you know what else is dangerous? The Auburn Tigers.
You said what now?
I said, you know what else is dangerous? The Auburn Tigers, and they're not in Macau. And I think they are going to give Alabama a run for their money next week.
They really are, man. And you know what's funny, man? It's Alabama is got some shit going on, man. I mean, they're going to be, if Alabama comes out of this fucking undefeated, they are the best team in the country without a doubt. I don't see anybody being. I mean, obviously Auburn, now sitting at 4 in the BCS, they're 10-1. They had that loss earlier to South Carolina. They're going to play, at home against Alabama. Then let's just say Alabama gets past that. You got a Missouri team that is 10-1. Okay, and they're sitting at number 5. That will probably meet you in the SEC championship. You know what I mean? They've got to play probably the number 4 and 5 team, in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Their toughest schedule. I mean, their toughest part of their schedule is obviously coming up here at the end. It's not going to be fun, and they're going to have to show up these next 2 weeks.
Now, that will determine, if Alabama goes undefeated, obviously they'll be meeting one of the other undefeated teams, Florida State or Ohio State. If they go undefeated, obviously it'll take Auburn out of it, and it'll take Missouri out of it, and it'll be between the two undefeateds that are Florida State and Ohio State. Now, Ohio State has closed the gap on Florida State because obviously they had a little bit tougher of an opponent this week, and it just hasn't looked good for Florida State. You've got the scandal going on right now. That's kind of in the back. But also, the teams that Florida State beat, Florida, they just got beat by a fucking FBS team. I mean, it's like Florida's not looking good. Virginia Tech's not looking good. Yeah, but I tell you what, when you play that in conference, that rival school, I mean, and let's face it, Florida State's been doing what they should be doing all year long. They've been burying the bad teams. So They should go out there and dig a grave for Florida and bury the whole team, and Muschamp should just quit. If Muschamp loses this game by 20 or more points, he should just go, you know what, I did my best. It's not good enough. I'm going to go back to being a coordinator because I do not have the chops to be a coach. Yeah, and some people are going to argue the fact that he has a lot of injuries. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There in college football, there's teams. You're Florida.
Oh wait. Hold on. Wait. Isn't this the team that was going to run the table once their backup quarterback got in?
Yeah, I know. There was somebody that said that.
That's what we were told.
Do you remember who said that, George?
No, because I don't remember bullshit.
One of you guys out there that watches the show said that. One of you guys said that it did not matter that Florida's backup, they were going to run the table. I'm going to tell you what.
I don't think they put it that nicely.
Losses?
I think they pretty much told us we don't know shit, and Florida is going to run the table now that their backup's in. I'm not sure what your definition of run the table is.
Fucking retard. Yeah. They ran the table, straight losses. Straight L's. You know what I mean?
I'm going to make a comment, and I made this one to Kevin via text.
Right.
Oregon is Boise State with more talent.
They don't.
I'm going to let y'all think about that for a second. Think about it. They got all the talent in the world. They run their mouth. They talk about how good they should be. And let's see. They've played in the last, 10 or so years. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 Pac-12 titles, 1 national championship appearance, and they lost to Auburn. I think that was to what, Cam Newton?
Yep. You know what's funny about that? How you said that? How I'm looking at this, and it's funny. Boise State really set a precedence for teams like Fresno State. Okay, and why I say this is the computers, right? The BCS standings in the AP top 25. Fresno State, okay, is sitting at 16. They're undefeated. They haven't lost a game. They're sitting at 16. I guarantee you, fucking 3 years ago, they'd be in the top 10. They'd be in the top 8, undefeated. But now people know. You know what I mean? But now the coach is a part of it. Everybody's a part. They're undefeated. They're sitting at 16-0. Now, Northern Illinois is sitting at 11-0. And they're sitting at 18 in the AP poll. But in the BCS standings, in the computer Northern Illinois is 14 and Fresno State is 16 because Northern Illinois has beat 2 decent teams from the Big Ten. And one from the Big 12 and one from the Big 10, whereas fucking Fresno State has beat nobody the whole fucking year. Nobody. They beat the high school down the street. They beat the fucking Palms. They beat all these whack-ass fucking teams. And now, because of what Boise State did and failing every time they got to the big games and fucking losing it, they fucking set a new thing across the board. What these coaches are like, I don't give a fuck. If you don't play anybody, we're not going to push you up in the standings. And I love it.
And I tell you what, the other team and the other coach who was just crying last week about the BCS and how it's not fair. Oh, Urban, let me quit while I'm might get caught ahead. Meyer, he's not crying this week. I don't. No. How come he's quiet as a fucking church mouse this week? Because Baylor got their asses whipped, and he didn't have to worry about Baylor anymore. The only thing he has to worry about is what happens to Florida State.
Yep, he's got to hope that somebody, maybe Florida State, gets played. You know, Florida can maybe do something, and in the ACC championship, Florida State actually gets challenged. And
and then who are they playing? Duke.
And you know what? Yeah. Maybe Duke can challenge him. Maybe Duke can lose only by 10 or 14.
Maybe you're retarded.
And I'm probably retarded. But if that can happen and Ohio State can blow out Michigan State, then maybe the computers make them jump up. But personally, I want to see Bama and Florida State because I think those are the two best teams in the country.
Yeah, I would too. But I tell you what, if Bama or Florida State catches an L, that Ohio State puts it right in there, and they can't. And the thing is with Ohio State going undefeated last year, and if they go undefeated this year, they're going to go, well, they're 27-0, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, and they play no one all year long.
That's their scenario is a good situation of why the playoffs will be good next year because they haven't lost a game in 2 years and they're deserving of it. I hope teams like Fresno State that go undefeated and Northern Illinois, the teams that are undefeated but don't play anybody, I hope they don't allow those teams to sneak in. I guess they're going to base it the top 4 teams in the BCS go, right?
Well, I think that's where that human element of the group that's going to do the selecting is going to come in. Because, I mean, and that's what I mean. Like, I hope somebody looks at that and goes, well, let's look at who Fresno State played. They're undefeated. They got to be good. Oh, wait, they played the Sisters and the Brothers of the Poor and no one else. So
So then they do, because, I mean, it's going to be just a waste of a fucking spot because they're going to get housed and fucking get their brakes beaten off, and then some other team from the SEC or some other team that's sitting in a real, major conference is going to be watching their asses, on television going, why the fuck weren't we in this shit,
Right. And now with that, we're going to move on to NFL because let's face it, if you're watching college football, the next couple weeks are going to be big for all of us who are engrossed in it. And unfortunately, then they take a month or two off, which I just find ridiculous, which I'm going to be interested to see how, if they implement a playoff system, is that going to change the timetable? Are they going to push that up, or is it still going to be drawn out?
They're going to push it. It's going to get pushed up one game, and I think it's going to start 1 week earlier and go 1 week deeper. With the playoffs, you mean?
Yeah.
It will start, like, say you had the bowl games. I don't know, man, because over the last few years, the national championship is like the second week in January now. So
yeah, it's ridiculous.
It'll start probably the last week in December. Then the semifinal game will be the first week in December, and then the national championship will be the second week in January. You know what I'm saying? Last week December, first week January, second week January.